Good evening. The most of you already know me, the most of you I do know. I repeated, my name is Uta Zeringer. I'm from the RENAC team, Renewables Academy. There at RENAC, I've been responsible for the MBA Renewables for almost about three and a half years. I've already told the students of the current on-campus time 2017, from my point of view, to be in charge of the MBA Renewables at RENAC is one of the best jobs there. Maybe I should not mention it in front of my boss. However, what makes the job so special for me? Usually we work in projects at RENAC. Some of them are quite short-term, some of them last a little bit longer, often not longer than 2 or 3 years. The MBA Renewables program is not a project anymore. It is an accredited master study program. Of course, nevertheless, like in a project, we have milestones. Every year on campus time. It's now the 6th on campus time and my 4th on campus time. 4 years ago, it was already mentioned, the MBA program was accredited. We founded an advisory board, and now we have the opening ceremony of the first MBA Alumni Conference. 1 year ago, it was my job to draft the proposal, the program for the proposal at the German Academic Exchange Service, DAAD, for applying for this, for the support of this alumni conference. Well, we've heard a lot, something about the ongoing Energiewende, the energy transition. It's not only ongoing in Germany, I would say it's a global development, and integration of renewable power generation. The topic of our first conference is one important task on the way to a sustainable energy future. And that's why, of course, it was somehow clear to choose such a topic for the conference proposal. I know the MBA Renewables program quite good. I know the modules and especially the renewable energy related learning units. And that's why I thought the topic integration of renewable power generation would be a good follow-up for our alumni. You may discuss this topic of course, from the energy supply side. You have the network infrastructure in it. You can discuss it from the economics and the policy side. And I thought perfect for our graduates. Well, and we wrote the proposal and all others agreed. And yeah, and we got the support. Integration of renewable power generation. First of all, this is connected to the electricity grid, or mainly to existing electricity grids. 6 or 7 months ago, the DAAD, the German Academic Exchange Service, informed us about the fact that it supports these conferences with travel grants for the MBA alumni. And we started to design the program more in detail. Noara Kebir, Managing Director of Microenergy, was announced in the program as a keynote speaker. Because of reasons we will hear about today, she could not be with us today in this evening. Instead of her, we will welcome Ms. Raluca Dimitrescu from Microenergy International. I know her as a co-author from an MBA Renewable Learning unit on microfinancing. Microfinancing? Huh. Here in Germany, we often, Germany or Europe and in the Western world, we often think in megawatts, gigawatts, millions of investments for renewable energy projects. Yes, and microfinancing is often not about mega and gigawatts. It's about connecting, maybe it's about connecting people to the energy world to access them to energy use. So maybe it's about the integration of people. That's why I called Microenergy International. Noara Kibir at that moment immediately agreed to be the keynote speaker, and she suggested the topic swarm electrification. The swarm electrification, this had not a lot to do, as far as I understood, with existing grid, electricity grids. As far as I understood, it's more an off-grid topic or approach. But maybe this could be another answer on how to integrate people to renewable energy use. Raluca Dimitrescu holds a master degree, a Master of Science degree in Finance and Capital Markets. She's the head of Microenergy Consult, a department of Microenergy International, and currently she is replicating the swarm electrification model from Bangladesh to Tanzania and India. Warm welcome to Raluca Dimitrescu.
Good luck. Yeah, unfortunately, my colleague and my friend Noara Kebir could not be here today because she's unfortunately in the cold Lesotho. It's winter now in Lesotho and trying to scale up a cook stove program. However, you know, I prepared, to be honest, a more technical presentation. I was thinking about swarm electrification and how to present it and how to connect it a bit to the topic of MBA. And then I actually enjoyed your speech. And the key words there for me were disruptive. So swarm electrification is a disruptive idea, which was created by two very disruptive people who also disrupted my life. Because, you know, once I graduated, and as you presented already in my short bio, finance, capital markets, and I just finished my master's thesis on trading credit default swaps, so something totally out of this world. Really, by accident, I came to Berlin to enjoy my graduation, and I stumbled upon Microenergy International. And I remember I attended one of their workshops, and the first image in their presentation was a swarm of fishes. And that was the entire presentation, just one slide. A swarm of fishes, a bank of fishes. And they were explaining that, yes, this is our idea, this is what we're doing in Bangladesh. Okay, clean water, what exactly are you doing? We're connecting people. We're connecting households, and we're allowing them to share electricity. Back then, I didn't even know what's the difference between renewable energy and energy efficiency. Now I know a bit more. But yeah, coming back to swarm electrification. You know, I brought this here. I'm not sure if everyone can see it. So this is a spinning top. I usually like to connect it with Inception, the movie Inception. Because what was the idea, right? Planting an idea in someone's subconscious and then, I don't know, trying to influence someone's life. This spinning top actually comes from Bangladesh when we had the idea of swarming together. And what does that mean? And why Bangladesh? When you have here in Germany all the infrastructure, all the stakeholders, especially in Berlin, which is such an innovative city, so vibrant in terms of innovations, technical, socio-economic innovations. Bangladesh, because it's one of the most surprising countries when it comes to renewable energy. I'm not sure if you know, but it has the largest number of solar home systems installed already, 4.1 million solar home systems installed. So how is that possible? Because it's also one of the poorest countries in the world. How is it possible that a technology which can cost up to $500, $700 can be acquired by people who live with less than $1 per week, not even per day? Well, the key is microfinance, as you explained it. Because microfinance provides the means to acquire expensive technology that can help you bypass or help you grow out of energy poverty. And this is the model Muhammad Yunus designed in Bangladesh, for which he received the Nobel Peace Prize. green microfinance with Gramin Shakti. What he did was very simple. He took an expensive technology, solar home systems, more than 15 years ago, so can you imagine the price back then? He calculated what are the energy savings coming from displacing the usual use of oil or kerosene to using now the sun. And those energy savings were transformed into the installments or the payback for the microfinance loan. So now you can see in Bangladesh, I think almost all villages have at least one solar home system installed. There's at least one household with a solar home system in Bangladesh. But still there are problems and inefficiencies in that. So on average, a solar home system has 30% of excess electricity, which is not used. Generated, stored, but not used, because of different reasons. There are not sufficient appliances, either the system was oversized. So what can you do with this excess electricity? Why not generate income for yourself, for the household? So 15 years ago, Noara Kebir and her partner, Mr. Daniel Philip, they wrote their master thesis with a DAD scholarship in Bangladesh, studying the model of rural electrification in Bangladesh. And that's when they had the idea, so that was their inception, the idea for swarm electrification. But that was impossible 15 years ago because the technology was not advanced enough. It took them 10 more years of research, waiting for the technology at least to leapfrog or to become more affordable. And in these 10 years, they learned from the field. So they started replicating the Gramin Shakti model, linking microfinance with energy inclusion, but not just for solar home system, also for cook stoves, improved cook stoves, also for biodigesters, everything in the global south. So what they learned in Bangladesh, they replicated in Africa, Asia, Latin America. And then that moment came when, wow, the technology now is affordable, now we can play with the technology, and now we can make it work. So 5 years ago, we went back to Bangladesh and we started working on our technology. So we created basically a different type of energy transition, not for global north, but rather for the global south. So this is our disruptive idea. Sharing excess electricity from one solar home system, from one household to the other. And this creates not only a technical infrastructure, but also more than this, business opportunities, entrepreneurship for the households, for the MSMEs in the rural areas. One by one, connected the households form a microgrid, a mini-grid, however you want to call it. But once you start connecting the mini-grids, you create a larger infrastructure. So then when the national grid is ready to come, it doesn't need to build on top of that a double infrastructure. Or imagine the costs of the national grid coming and trying to rebuild the infrastructure required for this. No, the grids are already there in place, and the only link is missing is literally just a wire between the grids and the national utility. What's beautiful about this idea of swarm electrification is not only the income generation opportunity, is not only about the sharing of electricity, but it's also about the other disruptive ideas that come from this. And two of those disruptive ideas are Tesla and the new currency. I hope, even though this is live streamed, there are no legal issues here between microenergy and Tesla. But we like to say that we are also doing a Tesla model in Bangladesh. Because we've noticed that with the excess electricity from several households, electric rickshaws can be powered. So we've created a model in which electric rickshaws come to the households who become literally charging stations like the superchargers of Tesla, and then just normally run on electricity, on clean electricity in Bangladesh. And we went also one step forward. I think we hear about this notion now of blockchains, bitcoins, Ethereum, and many, many other blockchain currencies. Why not discussing also about blockchain in the context of the energy transition? Why not making a currency, I'm not saying a centralized one, but rather a decentralized alternative currency, such as the one we are working on at the moment, called the microenergy currency, which is literally based on kilowatt hour. So 1 unit is 1 kilowatt hour. Why should we trade, why should we use currency which is affected by inflation, by national policies, by many other factors that are not in our hands, but rather let's use the actual value of a currency, and in this sense is the kilowatt hour. So as a matter of fact, at the moment we're also testing this in Bangladesh and trying to replicate this in Tanzania as well. A currency in this decentralized grids in which I can buy, for example, from the local shop in the village, a very cold Coca-Cola on a sunny day with kilowatt hour and pay it in 2.5 kilowatt hours. And all the transactions are done via mobile. And why mobile? Because for some reason that, so I'm not German, I'm from Romania. So coming to Germany, I thought, wow, they're so advanced technologically and everything, but I'm very disappointed with the speed of the internet here, and also a bit with the advancements in terms of mobile payments. That's still slow. But if you go to East Africa, if you go to Southeast Asia, you would be fascinated to see how many things you could do with $2 on your cell phone. So why not have 2 kilowatt hour on your cell phone and just go and pay in your local market, in your local shop? Why not transfer those 2 kilowatt hours if you live in a city to your family who lives in a village in Bangladesh so that you can charge their solar home system? So the story of swarm electrification and how we managed to reach this point of actually implementing it in Bangladesh was hard. We also went through stress in terms of money, finding investors, and we didn't do this from Germany, but rather literally from Bangladesh. So we were around 5 people locked in an apartment, a 2-room apartment in Dhaka, with only 10 hours of electricity per day, 35 degrees outside, and 1 fan, trying to develop a box. Which is this box? Well, this is actually the second series of the box. And why am I showing you this box? It's not to market it or to advertise it, because you can't buy it. You're not the fortunate ones that can buy it here. But I'm showing it to you because I want to highlight how many changes we have implemented to this box and how much we have learned being there and actually interacting with the people, and also from our experiences from our other projects in the rest of the world. So initially it had a different color, and that color was considered to be a bad omen. There were too many buttons. There were too many lights on it, and people were complaining, or the end users were complaining that those lights were consuming the stored electricity from the batteries. So we also had to change that. The colors of the light were not good. Then there was a light here which was blinking, so one gentleman decided to take an axe and break it in two because it was the devil's tool. Yeah, so these were things that we learned, but we had the patience to do it because we were really driven by our passion and our idea. And by that picture of the swarm of fishes that I'm still struggling to understand. So what is swarm electrification apart from this sharing of electricity between households? It's a platform of sharing knowledge. It's a service provider. It's a chance for those who are energy poor to rise through their own means and not through things like donations, subsidies, just receiving a system, and not creating their own ownership on it. we really took advantage of our positioning here in Berlin, because one of the previous speakers highlighted, it's one of the largest number of students are in Berlin, in Germany. But it's also a great place with hubs, full of hubs and accelerators and incubators and technical universities. I think this is the 3rd or 4th technical university I visit in Berlin. It's a great place, and it's a great ecosystem, because you combine here all the knowledges, social, economic, technical. So we really used that, and we transferred it to the Global South. But we didn't go there with, okay, this is the idea, this is a made in Germany product, idea, innovation, now just do it. No, we just tried to empower. We worked with universities in Bangladesh. We cooperated with local people, with villages, and the same applies for Tanzania and for any other project in which we have worked in. I think in each of you, I don't want to really give you a lesson or, but I would like to encourage you, and I really like your motto at the end, but I would like to change it a bit and just say, just do it. Not believe you can do it, just do it. I think this is the Nike one, right? No. However, it's a very good one, just do it. Even if you have those nights in which you're thinking, how are you going to pay your employees the next day? Is that sort of equity transaction the right one for my company? Or how am I going to open now a production line? We've been through this, we're still going through this, but what keeps us going is when we always return to the field and we see our customers and we see the people who use this and we see how this empowers them. And the way I would like to end this is this speech, or this disruptive swarm electrification idea, is just saying that the last empowerment I received in this direction was a cricket game. A cricket game between Pakistan and Bangladesh. I have no idea about cricket, baseball, and so on, sorry. But it was a cricket game which was shown in a village from a DC projector powered by the excess electricity coming from a small grid from 8 households in the village. So electricity is not just about, and energy is not just about powering some appliances, it's also about entertainment, education, and moving up socially and culturally. So try to use this experience as an MBA, either alumni or now an MBA student, to find your own idea and then just to do it. Thank you.